Hey guys, welcome to our podcast. My name is Baxter,
I'm
and this
Bevan.
is, and we're going to be talking about music. We're going to be talking about science. We're going to be talking about life, and everything pretty much. Um, so, Bevan and I are friends. We've been friends for many, many years. Bevan is in New Zealand right now, and I'm in Australia. And we've played in a band together. And heck, we've even studied together, right?
That's right. When did we first meet? It was like 2001 or something like that, was it?
Yeah, 2001 or even 2000, sometime around then. And when you were doing your PhD, at that point I was doing my master's degree, and and we both had same supervisors, which is pretty cool. Different topics, similar topics, I suppose,
Yeah, it's all
microbiology.
microbiology stuff, yeah.
Yeah. So, Bevan, do you want to talk about your research background very quickly? What do you specialize in?
Yeah, so I started doing that microbiology degree. So that was on rhizobia, which are these symbiotic root nodule bacteria that live with legume plants. Yeah, and then after that, I kind of switched a little bit to plant pathology, and for my postdoc, I looked at a specific plant pathogen fungus.
Hmm,
Yeah, and then
I like fungus.
yeah, no, fungi were cool. It was a good switch. Interesting kind of morphological things fungi had that
Yeah.
bacteria don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I got a job as a scientist and kind of
Yeah.
worked my way up and sideways, and
Yeah.
now I'm like a senior scientist at Manaka
Yeah.
Whenua Lanka Research, a research organisation, kind of focused on environmental research, and yeah, lead a mycology and bacteriology group.
Very cool. Very cool. And we've actually even worked together, so that's pretty cool. Not only studied together, played in a band together, but we worked in the same lab, so in the same company, and that was pretty amazing. It is actually pretty amazing.
And
Um,
even when we were students, we did the occasional field trip together.
Oh, that's right. My very first field trip that I ever did was actually with you and our
Yeah.
supervisor. And oh man, I got so tired for that field trip. It was crazy. We were climbing up all these crazy massive hills, and our supervisor, Susan, and she asked me like a couple of days before. She was like, "Are you fit?" I was like, "Oh yeah, yeah, I'm fit." You know, I wasn't fit at all whatsoever.
Well, Sue was like
And
a
but it was a fun
marathon
trip.
runner or something, eh?
Yeah, yeah, she was very fit, very fit. Um, and anyways, so I'm a plant biologist. I did my PhD in plant molecular biology about 10 years ago. Actually, gosh, time has passed so quickly. And now I'm just working as a researcher, cloning crops for the future. Actually, trying to improve photosynthesis, and that means it'll be a better crop productivity to meet a high demand, high hunger demand actually
Mm.
in the future. So we're all doing good work, good science work. Um, anyways, well, this is August, guys, and in Australia and New Zealand, it's deja vu again. We are in a lockdown. So I'm in Canberra, and we went in a lockdown last week, and Auckland went in a lockdown just
It was
yesterday or
it
day
was like
before
3 days
yesterday.
ago, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you've actually heard on the news. The crazy Fox News people in US. So one of these people, on Fox News, her name is Laura Ingram, and apparently she was mocking um, when she heard that Auckland shut down because of one case, and 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 they don't seem to actually understand, and it just goes to show that these people, no matter, even though they're educated, they are trying to push their agenda, which is the right wing agenda. Sorry, guys, we may get political here as well. So And so they're denying all the science, everything, and just talking about crap, really. Um, and so, what's the situation now in Auckland after one case shut down?
Well, as you can expect with this Delta variant of COVID, one case the next day turned into 4 cases, and I believe we're up to 20 something cases now. There were 11 new cases today, which kind of surprised me. It actually wasn't as bad as I thought it could get.
Yeah,
But yeah, so we're in level 4 lockdown, so nobody can leave their house unless for like very limited,
yeah,
like local exercise reasons, or if you're like a critical worker. And unlike in some parts of Australia, Bunnings does not count as like a critical
no,
workplace. So
no.
it's really only
Bunnings
critical
is
things,
a
police and stuff. Oh
hardware
yeah,
store.
the hardware store. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes, it's really only like police and people like that. Actually, some of my co-workers from work can go in because one of my things is that I run the National Culture Collection of New Zealand. So there's like living cultures of fungi bacteria. And so these
yeah,
are stored in liquid nitrogen. And so we need to top
yeah,
up like several hundred liters of liquid nitrogen every week so they don't like die.
yeah,
Yeah, so we've got like
yeah,
exemptions for like critical sort of things like that and maintaining insect colonies and
yeah.
that sort of thing. But yeah, no,
Yeah,
it's a
we've
pretty
got the
hard
same
lockdown.
situation. Yeah, it's kind of like pretty much the same here as well. I've got explants growing on tissue culture medium, and
Mm.
explants are pretty much your genetically engineered tiny little seedlings, and I need to transfer them, sub them, move them to a new plate and whatnot. So I am on this essential worker thing as well. Um, so yeah, we've had a similar situation as well. The cases began to rise high, and then all of a sudden it started to drop. So now today, after pretty much 1 week later, we've got 14, 13 cases today.
Mm.
12, I think. Sorry, 12. So it's going down. And 2 days ago it was 22. So we're pretty stoked about that. So it's just a matter of time where things are just going to get better. Well, this would be a good segue into vaccination. Let's quickly talk about vaccination as well. Now, Bevan is fully vaccinated, and I'm fully vaccinated as well. So there's a lot of people who are in just complete denial, and I can talk about my mom's sister, my auntie, and her husband. They and my mom's sister, she's a nurse, and she doesn't want to get vaccinated. And she thinks people are actually going to die after 2 years of vaccination. And so I guess my question to you, Bevan, would be like, do you want to shed some light on the actual fact that vaccinations have been around for so many years, and we as kids got vaccinated, and and nothing has happened. And as a matter of fact, sorry, before I let you speak, the scientists who actually invented vaccination, I think it was for polio. No, not polio.
Cowpox.
Smallpox.
Yeah,
Cowpox.
smallpox.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
smallpox.
yeah.
Smallpox. And this scientist was amazing. I think he was in Sweden or Switzerland or somewhere there. I can't remember. And people were getting sick with smallpox, and he noticed that the maids who were actually bringing in the milk, they weren't sick at all. And so he figured out maybe there's something in the milk, the cow's milk, which is making them safe. So he literally took some of their blood and injected into an infected patient, and that's how vaccinations were invented. Is that correct, right?
Yeah, that's right. So cows have kind of a similar thing to smallpox called cowpox, and
Yeah,
so it's if a human gets infected with cowpox, it's a very very mild disease, just a tiny little kind of scab or something like that.
yeah,
But it's close enough to smallpox that your immune system can kind of recognize it and then fight off the smallpox. So yeah, that was a great discovery, and that was hundreds of years ago, and yeah, we've
yeah,
been using that. That was variolation
yeah.
or something like that, and now vaccination, similar
Mhm.
thing. Yeah, hundreds of years since, and yeah, by far it's saved just millions and millions and millions of lives. So many different diseases have been prevented through vaccination.
That's right. And so, like, obviously, I wasn't there 100 years ago, and prior to that as well. Why is it? Why is it that people are more resistant to vaccination now than in the past? I mean, a lot of our parents got vaccinated. We as babies got vaccinated. Is it a new generation which is doing that, or does it have to do a lot with the social media that we're looking at, and people just got all these conflicting theories and whatnot, and they can talk more openly about it?
Well, it's just my opinion, but I think, strangely enough, that the success of vaccination has been part of the reason why people don't want it. You know, if you think back in those times of smallpox, you had members of your own family, your friends, your fellow city people. They died,
Yeah.
and you saw those bodies in the street, and you saw the mass graves and stuff like that, and so you were like, of course, I want something that's going to stop it. But now, because vaccination and medical healthcare is so good, people aren't kind of connected with that reality of all these diseases can really harm and kill people. So it's just somehow not in your face so much. I mean, the strange thing, I guess, with COVID is that we're kind of back to those days. We've had millions of people die around the world, and you've still got people now kind of denying it. So I think that maybe is what you're getting at with like the social media, and that people getting kind of brainwashed, or getting their thoughts down a path that makes them sort of, even in the face of the evidence of people dying, not wanting to get that vaccination.
Well, here's the thing. Now, the draconian law is coming into Australia, which is like no jab, no job. And I'm actually for it, obviously, because I believe in science, and I believe that, the vaccination is good. Here's the thing. The analogy I can give with this draconian law is that if we did not have road rules, it would be a jungle rule, and people would be just like driving at whatever speed they want to drive in. There'd be drink driving and whatnot, you name it. Can I just quickly finish what I was talking about the road rules? So really, I think like the no jab, no job policy is pretty good, and you gotta have. There are rules in life, and if you're not gonna have rules, even for vaccination, just because people are being dumb, then it's important to have rules. That's what I'm trying to say. All right, changing topic.
Yet here, but I think it's inevitable. There'll be some kind of rules for whatever going to clubs or bars or something when we open up again.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I had this strange phone call today. So, we're in this level 4 lockdown. Nobody's supposed to be able to leave their house or all that sort of thing. And I had a phone call. Someone rang up, and they were from the blood service. So, you can like give blood and stuff.
Like pathology?
No, like donate blood.
Right.
So I do that occasionally. I haven't done it for a while because they moved the blood service from where I was working to somewhere else. Anyway, she rings up and says, "Oh, can you donate blood?" And I'm like, I guess. I mean, I haven't done it for years. And anyway, so it turns out that like I've got like super special blood or something. I don't know.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So apparently, it's only 6 people in Auckland who are donors who have this specific type of blood that I've got.
Are you like an O negative? O positive?
I'm O positive. Yeah.
Me too. I'm O positive too.
But it's not just O positive, because there must be thousands and thousands, because Auckland's like 1.5 million people or something, right? But yeah, she said there's some other kind of phenotype, so I need to look it up later or find out when I go in tomorrow exactly what it is. But yeah, anyway, so there's like this kid in hospital who needs blood, and they've got this particular type, and this lady from the blood service rang up all 6 people in Auckland who have this type of blood, and I was like the 6th one, and the other 5 turned it down for some reason.
So all of you guys must have been in the database system, right?
Yeah.
That's how they knew. All right,
yeah,
cool.
So when you donate, they like test your blood and find out what kind of antigens and all that kind of stuff you've got, I guess.
That's right.
So so I have to go in tomorrow donate blood, help
Wow,
help some little kid
that's
at
very nice of
hospital.
you, Bevin. Yeah,
Yeah,
that is such a nice thing. That's a very kind thing to do. That's very nice of you to do that because you could have potentially declined, and I would do the same thing, especially if I'm one of those six people in the city whose blood can be used to save someone's life. That's amazing. Wow, that's impressive.
yeah, and it's not so hard. I mean, they put the needle in and stuff. You get like a little bit sore at that site, but I mean, you don't miss you don't miss the blood or anything.
No,
It's kind of fine, and
no.
you get a free cup of tea and a cookie or whatever.
And I guess like that's another thing. Now this is all kind of like gonna come full circle. That people are worried about their privacy. People are worried about, oh, if I'm gonna get vaccinated, Bill Gates is gonna track me and whatnot. The fact of the matter is like, guys, you're already in the system. If you've ever been to the doctor, if you've ever tested your blood for something, you are in the system. So there's no hiding, and unless you're a freaking criminal, you don't have to worry about anything. Um, it's good to be kind of like concerned about certain things and ask certain things, but when you have science available, I wouldn't say internet, but let's say the media. This is where the media comes in. The media gets all the information from the scientists, from the politicians, from anyone, and they provide that information to us. They're not making stuff up. Well, they kind of do as well. But in terms of when it comes down to actual facts, there's a lot of fact checking happening. And so there's real science going on behind vaccination and all these other things. And no one is tracking you, no one's doing anything. You've already been tracked, as I said before. So go ahead, do everyone a favor and get vaccinated. Um,
Yeah, definitely. I mean, do it for yourself as well, right? Because it'll
yeah,
can save your own life,
exactly.
and save those of you
Yeah.
people around you as well. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's take the topic away from COVID and vaccination and whatnot, and let's talk about our other passion, music. What's been happening in the heavy metal world? Are you looking forward to the new Iron Maiden album, which is coming out next month?
Yeah, I've heard. I try not to, get too exposed to it beforehand. But yeah, I did hear one of the tracks on the radio, and I thought, yeah, that was amazing. Actually,
The
it kind
the
of,
writing on the wall.
yeah,
Yeah.
and the beginning of it kind of got me off guard because it was kind of like, oh my god, is this like kind of like a country intro kind of thing? It was super weird, but yeah, yeah. Then I got onto it.
it's
Yeah,
it's funny. There's people are kind of like divided on that track right now because a lot of people are actually saying, "Oh, it kind of like sounds a bit country-ish and bluesy and whatnot." But really, when I first heard it, I was like, "Oh wow, this is actually quite refreshing." And Iron Maiden did an amazing job because they managed to bring in and fuse their sound back into this so-called country-ish, bluish riff that starts in the beginning of the song, and they were still able to bring that Iron Maiden sound back into the song, and I thought that was great.
and it's interesting if you think like from the origins of metal and rock. It comes from that, that blues space
Exactly.
anyway, right? So it's all just kind of coming
Yeah,
around full
exactly.
circle. Yeah.
Precisely. They've actually just released a new track today as well.
Oh wow, haven't heard that.
I haven't. I've forgotten what the title is called, and but I haven't listened to it yet because it's been a busy day for me. So I'm looking forward to listen to it maybe later tonight or next time. And what else you want to talk about music? Anything
So
else for this week?
you've written a few songs, Baxter. How do you kind of get the idea? What comes into your mind? How do you get the kind of the creative spark to create a new song?
Oh, and I tell you what, guys, this is not scripted at all. He didn't meant to ask me that question, and what I'm going to say next is actually what really happened yesterday.
Oh, okay.
So this is not scripted at all. Interesting that you asked me that, and so In the past, when I was living in New Zealand and when we had our band Shadow Dreams, um, the way I used to write my songs was just picking up my guitar and trying to come up with a riff or come up with a melody or something, and that would be like the spark for me. And obviously you gotta have that what's the muse to actually write the song. Now, in the last, I would say 7 years, what I've been doing, I've actually written a lot of material as well and recorded a couple of CDs. Just I haven't released anywhere. It's just for my own personal listening. But I discovered GarageBand, which is an application on Mac computers, and it has drum loops. And when I first discovered it, I would actually choose play different drum beats, uh, and then try to work around it. And over the last few years, I've realized that every time I would actually plug it in and plug my guitar in and listen to this drum beat or whatever, different types of drum beats, I just couldn't come up with anything. And I thought maybe I just wasn't in the mood. And so I just kind of like left it aside. Now, I've been thinking about it a lot for the last few weeks. And early this week, I realized what the problem was. The problem was me not actually picking up the guitar and coming up with something. The problem
Uh,
was that I was actually, yeah, because I think that drum beat would just kind of like, it just
Lock
became
you
too
into,
repetitive.
yeah, yeah.
That's right, and then it kind of yeah, locked me in. That's a good word as
Uh,
well. And I couldn't really be more creative. The moment I picked up my guitar and I tried to play a couple of riffs, and I started to come up with this amazing riff, and I immediately recorded it. As
nice.
a matter of fact, just today I was writing the lyrics to a new song.
Oh,
There's no title yet, but the riff is actually pretty cool, even if I say so myself. Um, and yeah, so to answer your question, that's
yeah,
that.
there you go.
Yeah. And our rhythm guitarist Deline in Shutter Dreams, he used to write a lot of melodies as well
Mm.
and riffs. Well, he used to just do a lot of rhythm work. And that actually used to provide a good canvas for me to come up with some sort of a riff. And it actually helped me a lot because it was less pressure for me because I wasn't coming up with the melody. He came up with the melody, and I would actually just write a riff. So that helped a lot. Yeah. How about yourself?
Yeah, I
Because
mean,
you've written this amazing. So Bevan has written this amazing track, amazing riff. It's called Shut Up. uh, we're gonna be a family friendly podcast here. So
yep.
and shut the bleep up. And that was an amazing riff that you came up with. Do you want to talk more about that? And
Now that you said that, I mean, I think it came from that same space, just kind of like sitting there. And so this is the bass, of course, just sitting there and just kind of playing. Maybe you're watching TV or something else, or
mm,
you just kind of, you have it right beside you, can pick it up and you just
mm,
play. And then your fingers just kind of like snap to something, and then I don't know. It's not like you're consciously focusing on, okay, I'm going to play like a minor pentatonic scale, and it's
mm,
going to be like this. You just
yeah.
do it, and then something comes from it. Yeah. Um, yeah. So I mean, doing that process, you probably discard a lot of stuff that doesn't sound so good.
I Yeah, and then there are other times. Well, the good thing is like nowadays we have iPhones and whatnot, and it's pretty easy to record a snippet of your creation immediately, and then you can work on it later. So I've got a lot of different ideas already been recorded on my phone, and sometimes I just go through it and hear it, and I'm thinking, oh, this is cool. I can turn this into a song, but I guess at this moment I'm not really too keen on actually creating new songs, and it's just yeah, I'm in kind of like in a different headspace because I need to be in a certain band to do all our heavy metal stuff right now I'm in an alternative rock band, and the singer of that band actually writes music and lyrics, and I compose my own riffs and my own guitar solos. But um, at this stage, like if I would have that heavy metal hard rock band again, I may start doing it. May, by doing it, it means I may start writing new music again. But yeah,
Yeah, well, the most recent thing I've done is I've got a 9-year-old daughter, and she came up with some lyrics to a song, and she was like, right, okay, write the music to it.
yeah,
So I had to kind of figure out something, and of course, yeah, she wasn't thinking about like 4/4 time and getting everything right. So
yeah,
basically, just have to kind of wing it, and yeah, that's where kind of
yeah,
strumming in some sort of pattern or something sort of works.
yeah. I don't. Yeah. Well, my daughter, who's actually 11 years old now, she came up with a song last year as well,
Mm,
and she said she wrote the words and she wrote the little melody just by singing.
mm,
So
mm.
and it was pretty cool, you know. So it's nice kids are coming up with music. Music is a very nice thing to be getting involved in, you know, rather than going out and getting messed up on the street. It's on the streets. It's good to just get involved in something more creative, and it doesn't really have to be music. It could be art. It could be something which is creative. You know, any kind of an creative art is a good outlet, and that's great.
What do you reckon about the sort of popular music today versus 30 years ago? Ish when we were kids. I guess it's like a lot more like overproduced and perfect, and they're like trying to design all the hooks and all that kind of thing, or has it always been that way?
I don't know. Well, I've never been a big pop music listener. You know, I do have a little bit of a guilty pleasure music, pop music that I listen to. Like I do like Lady Gaga. I think she's pretty cool. And if you think about Lady Gaga's background, she actually has a heavy metal background,
Mm,
and she listened to a lot of heavy metal bands, and she writes her own music, and I think that's kind of nice. But when it comes down to pop music, I guess if I'm in the supermarket or somewhere or in a mall, if I hear any kind of a pop song, it's just kind of in the background. And if I was to pay more close attention to, I think it's I don't know. It's really hard for me to understand what people feel about pop music because I don't listen to pop music, and it's really hard for me. Like, what's attracting them? I guess same stuff. What's attracting me to heavy metal music? But then again, heavy metal music, people are playing their own instruments, writing their own songs, and singing as well. You know, and this is raw singing. So I don't know, like if you think about like pop artists like Michael Jackson back in the
mm,
80s, I know his stuff,
definitely, yeah.
and it was just amazing, very original, and just a lot of substance to it. And now when you, I suppose, hear about crazy stuff like I think there's a song called "Warp," WAP, I think that's what it's called. Yeah, I'm not even going to say what it is. I've just heard it on TV. It's an acronym, WAP.
Mm.
Uh, so, and it's just stupid, I think. And a lot of these things are just stupid. Um, yeah. All right, guys. So that brings us to the end of this little podcast, our very first podcast, and hope you guys enjoyed it. This is going to be a weekly thing, so we will be posting a new episode next week. So if you're new to our channel, which is a brand new channel right now, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and also hit that bell button so you'll be notified every time we post a new video. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Take care.